Hi, I am me, and this is New to Thee. You see, I am not a fan of the original Kick-Ass comic. I just couldn't get into it. I prefer the movie much more, and it's just not my flavor of coffee because I don't like bitter. But I love Hitgirl. She's my little angel. I love deadly cute children. Damien's my favorite Robin. He has my heart, but she has like my second heart, if that makes sense. So, if you don't know, Mindy is a little girl who was kidnapped by her delusional father and raised to be a superhero. Unlike Kick-Ass, who is just some guy that decided to be a hero, she is a legit danger to everyone around her, and has killed at least 100 guys by the age of 10. This series takes place after the events of Kick-Ass, and now she's on her own for all the good and bad that brings. It mostly focuses on her character, with multiple arcs giving attention to her loneliness and instability. She is completely off her rocker, and possibly evil, but she is still a likable character. The comics make sure to show that she is overall still a kid and is still human. Her through line throughout the story is her essentially dealing with the fact that she wants or needs a partner, because she associates having a partner with family. This is shown in multiple ways throughout the series, with her outright stating that she needs a new teammate and using the hallucination of her father for support. She is lonely. This can bring both good and bad. Yes, it does result in her being overly trusting and naive around others the more she interacts with them, as shown in the Rome arc where she hangs out with knockoff Catwoman. But it can also result in the villains getting more attention, allowing for me to root for them despite them being morally wrong, like in the case of the Colombian arc. We get to see the bad guy as a person by seeing how he interacts with her. He has reasons behind his actions and morals that he refused to push to the side, even for his own life. He isn't some generic bad guy and is much closer to Mindy when it comes to the way he thinks, both being indoctrinated children raised on lies to become living weapons. I'm sorry I'm being so vague, it's just that I don't really want to spoil it because it's the first and best, in my opinion, arc within the series. I know that it's a season 2 now, but I honestly do recommend reading this because it's genuinely a good story. It feels so weird to single out one artist among many because all of the artists on this series, I guess, were really awesome. They all are uniquely great in their own way. My favorite by far is Ricardo, just for the energy that his art has. Like, it's genuinely awesome. It reminds me of like Kill I Kill. It gives me the energy of a fight scene in Baki. It makes me happy. Everything from expression to an action scene, it just brings a smile to my face. When rereading the series, I was so happy to reread that part because I freaking love that art. I think even if the story wasn't that great, I would still love that art the most just for the artwork. And that says something about the art. Eduardo's art is also really good too. It works well for the story it's in. It's mostly about her mental instability and vulnerability. It's still cartoony but less extreme, which helps to highlight the fact that she is a human child, and works especially well when she's fighting multiple adult men and is left like bloody and beaten. Raphael's art is also pretty great. It's like a happy middle ground between the two and has the cutest Mindy by far, but it also is my least favorite art due to it feeling a little bit too much like a mediocre Batman comic, so I have little to say about it, sadly. I love cute, I love violence. This is cute violence. This speaks to me on a deep level. The entertaining violence drew me in, but the great characters, story arcs, and art honestly kept me reading. I feel that Mindy as a character is pretty great. I love how the comic in general makes it clear that she's a human child. I know I keep bringing that up, but that's honestly just because it makes the comic more enjoyable for me. Because unlike Kick-Ass, where they just kind of beat down this poor guy as much as possible, it mostly focuses on how badass she is, and she wouldn't be nearly as entertaining if she was just some badass force of nature. One of my favorite things about super smart, capable children is when they can do like impossible feats, but they can still get like leveled by an adult with combat experience or a cold. I love the fact that they're essentially weaker versions of adult heroes, and they're snarky and they're assholes and they want stuff and they don't really know how to vocalize it. So sometimes they act kind of naive, sometimes they get sick and they don't know what to do with it, sometimes they get grounded. That's what makes those characters entertaining. For her, she can't get grounded because she's by herself, so instead she essentially latches herself onto any adult who is somewhat similar to her in every story, and that's awesome because it's an interesting way of making her interesting interesting. It makes her a person. It makes her uniquely herself. And that's why I love this comic. It's a deranged bloodbath, and it's fucking awesome.